Here we are, Location Luxe. I'm your host, Alan Canis, and here in Season 1, we'll be focused on what we're calling the Great Lifestyle Migration. On each episode, I'll be right here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Over the last few decades, we've witnessed a great migration for employment and technology development. As such, the need and demand for homes has been among the highest in the country. These migration choices are giving people an extraordinary opportunity to explore new locations, amenities, and lifestyle options. And that's why we're here. Location Luxe. I am so excited to welcome my friend Daniela Stonefield, who is a top realm partner and a top real estate agent in South Carolina. Daniela, thank you so much for joining us today.
Alan, I can't tell you how glad I am to be part of this. It's a wonderful project. Thank you.
I'm a little excited and a little trepidatious, just a little, because typically you're the interviewer and you are so terrific at it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
So, Danielle, we know South Carolina is so much more than a destination location. It is a beautiful lifestyle. But before we get into that, please tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about the changes that are going on with your business.
Absolutely. Well, I guess the first question is, how long do I have, right? So we'll try and make it quick and to the point. So, of course, as you said, my name is Daniela Stonefield, and my partner, Rick Hollifield, who is just off camera. He and I work with our clients together, and that is one of the things that our clients absolutely love about our process. And so with that, we have been in this business for quite some time, but we just recently rebranded to Elevate Properties. And that idea of innovation and inspiration and elevation is really what bore that out into Elevate Properties. And our brokerage, of course, still is Charter One, which is the top brokerage in this area by a lot. I don't want to be a little braggadocious, but I can't help it. It's a great company, and it's kind of the engine under the hood, if you will.
So why did you decide to move to South Carolina and then decide to stay?
This area is it's kind of this, not to get woo-woo, but it's almost like this energy vortex. You get here and if you connect to it, there's just nowhere else like it. What actually brought me here originally, funny enough, was an interest in one of our sister cities, which is Savannah, Georgia, just to our south. That was actually what turned me onto this region in the first place. I love Savannah. We go there all the time. But the Low Country, which is sort of this region where I'm standing, that's Hilton Head, Bluffton, Beaufort, really south of Charleston, all the way down to Savannah. That's also our service area. But that is really the place where we live and work and play and do all the great things that there are to do here.
And Daniela, speaking about where you're standing, where are you right now? It's gorgeous.
Thank you, it is. So behind me is the Shelter Cove Marina. This is such a beautiful place. Lining this walkway, which is quite long, are shops, restaurants. There's a lot of live music here. You can come here in the summers and see the Shelter Cove fireworks. It's just a phenomenal place. And this is also residential and commercial. So people have their offices here, they have their homes, their second homes. It's a bustling area.
What is the culture like? The downtown, the restaurants, the golfing resorts, and actually the schools, because you have younger people moving in.
We don't really have what I call an anchor city. We don't really have a sort of central hub that everything else flows from. In some ways, the place that has the most national and international eyeballs, if you will, awareness, is Hilton Head Island, and of course that spreads out through the rest of the area. But by and large, this area is it's pockets without a city. As far as downtown and culture and things like that, the actual closest thing that we have to a downtown, if you will, is the historic area of downtown Beaufort, which is north of the Broad River. And that is fabulous. It's dining, it's shopping. It's the second oldest city in South Carolina. So if you want history, you want river, the abundance of the agricultural land that's around here, a little bit more of a residential feel in some ways, Beaufort might be a great choice for you. Bluffton is growing. It has a very low median age. It is just going crazy. And there is a lot of development happening there as well. That is sort of the mainland portion of this area. And then, of course, coming down that sort of crescent along the coast, then you hit Hilton Head Island. And that downtown, as I mentioned, is sort of the Shelter Cove area. We also have an area called Coligny Plaza. A lot of, very touristy, very fun. If you want to play tourist for a day, Coligny is where you go. You can go and grab some ice cream, grab some dinner, do a little bit of beachy shopping, and then go right, speaking of the beach, go right to the beach, because as we know, that's a huge draw for our area. And frankly, because the population is growing so quickly, new schools are going up, it seems, almost every year. Now, of course, that's not quite literally true.
How easy is it to get in and out of South Carolina?
It is getting increasingly easier to get into and out of our low country area. So we've got a number of airports. The Savannah Hilton Head International Airport is the primary airport of this little location, this area. But increasingly, the Hilton Head Airport, which is the most darling airport you ever want to see, it is a single terminal airport. It's just the cutest thing. And actually, it's a little bit more than cute at this point. It is seeing increasing air traffic. Airlines are adding flights to it. There are more and more nonstop or one-stop flights. You can get to Hilton Head directly from a number of cities.
Where are most of your buyers coming from?
Historically, a lot of our buyers, we were the spring break second home destination for places that you could get to in 2 to 4 hours drive time. So that radius has always brought a lot of buyers to our area. So you were looking at Columbia, South Carolina, which of course is our state capital, and Charlotte and Atlanta. But increasingly, we are seeing people come from the Northeast and Midwest are huge drivers in this area. New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Ohio. This is actually the first time in our history, by the way, and you'll be interested in this, that we are seeing more and more of an interest from the West Coast. So we are seeing more interest from Los Angeles, the Bay Area, San Diego, San Francisco, and even Seattle. As this area continues to have increasing levels of awareness on the world stage, we are the tourist stop after the Masters, which is a big deal, and that is the RBC Heritage. That is a huge deal in this area. We paint the Harbor Town Lighthouse plaid. Everybody goes crazy. It's fantastic, so much fun, whether or not you're a golfer. It's such a wonderful thing. And it's just this vibrant place. We were voted the #1 island in America 4 years in a row. That's pretty impressive. Wow. Considering that we have Hawaii.
What are the tax savings there in South Carolina especially compared to California?
So this is a great topic because we are extremely favorable. So when people ask this, I know some of my colleagues in other states, they kind of steer the conversation away from this, but we are actually very, very glad to have this conversation. We are actually at about half the national average where property tax is concerned. So we're just slightly over 0.5% of the fair market value of the house on average. Now, of course, that fluctuates not only based on where you actually land, but whether or not it's a primary or a second home. We have an exemption in place for primary homeowners that makes it extremely favorable to call South Carolina your home. In terms of income taxes, we really follow federal guidelines. It's a very standardized, very simplified system that we have here. We do have a lot of exemptions as well, especially for our retired folks and people who are getting up a little bit in age, pension, things like that. There's a lot of things to consider there because there are a lot of tax benefits. Fortunately, where our taxes are concerned, there are a lot of surprises for people, and they're almost always good ones, which you can't always say when you're talking about this topic.
That's true. And Daniela, tell us about the seasonal activities that you have there. So we know golfing is one. What additional seasonal activities are going on in South Carolina?
Yes, well, of course, we can't go and talk about the Hilton Head area without talking about golfing. That is like one of the major things, but it is a misconception that is all we have. You know, when I talk to people, assuming that they even know where we are, that's number one. But number two is, if they do, they really think two things. Or let's say three, to be fair. Golf, retirees, beach. Now, do we have those things? Yes, indeed we do, and all of them are fabulous, but we have so much more than that. We have 11 miles of beaches, so many water sports. We've got kayaking, sailing, paddleboarding, fishing, shrimping, crabbing, you name it. If the water has it, we have it. Golf, of course, as we talked about, we have over 40 courses in the area. Tennis and pickleball, we have over 300 courts. And we have 6 major facilities. Palmetto Dunes, which actually is our neighborhood where we live. It's an oceanfront resort. Fabulous place. It has 24 pickleball courts. That sport has just exploded, and Hilton Head has really embraced it. Yes, exactly. Biking trails, nearly 70 miles, sport fishing, birding. We have disc golf. We have a skate park. We have farmers markets, agriculture. It's such a rich and abundant lifestyle, which, as you can tell, I'm excited. There's a reason for that, because I get to live here.
Daniela, what are you seeing in appreciation year after year?
Yeah, so last year it was actually surprisingly low. So year over year, we're looking at about 7% appreciation market-wide. Now, the real appreciation that we're seeing is on the lower end, price-wise. Those are the homes that are just being gobbled up, grabbed up, and you can imagine why that would be the case, because we have a lot of young families that move in and about the area, and they have to be here, so they have to buy.
What can a buyer looking to migrate to South Carolina expect?
That's a great question, and I have to answer it first with a question, and that is, what exactly do you want your life to look like? This is the question that we ask all of our buyers, because we have such a varied and diverse area, and where you end up and what's going to make you happy ultimately is dependent upon what do you want to see when you wake up in the morning, when you open your eyes, what do you look out at? What is your view? What can you do? Do you want to be able to walk somewhere? How important is the beach? That's a number one question. Do you golf? What kinds of things do you want to be involved in? So all of these questions are going to inform where you end up. The Hilton Head Island is the only choice for some people. For other people, it's not the right call. And that just depends on what you want. But in terms of price point, that's also going to depend on the answer to that question. Let's assume that you want to be on the ocean. You want to be on the ocean, you need to be ready to spend at a minimum about $5 million right now, all the way up to 10. So it's not a massive range as far as other beach markets can go, but that's about what you're looking at. You get back off the ocean, it's pretty fair game. If you have $500,000 to spend, we can get you something very nice. If you have $1 million, we can get you something very, very nice. And you can probably walk, or at the very least bike to the beach.
What conditions are homes being put on the market? Are they renovated? Are they as is?
The answer is yes and yes. Are they renovated? Sometimes. Are they as is? Sometimes. It really just depends. And of course, we as professionals want to present our product as beautifully and pristinely as humanly possible. Rick and I actually, we've become known as people who kind of fix things a little bit. A lot of these homes sometimes maybe have been on the market for a very long time. And then in other cases, you get brand new. Some people do spec in this market. It's not a huge part of our inventory, but some people do spec. We do have new builds that are going up in kind of a mid-level price point.
Can you tell me a little bit about the architectural style that somebody could be expecting when they are looking to buy in South Carolina?
You'll see a lot of the styling that we have in this area is what you consider the low country look, right? It's that sprawling front porch, nice and big. It's got the railing. You can see your neighbors. It looks across the lawn. You probably see some tabby stucco, maybe some board and batten siding. It's a wonderful coastal chic look. And we have a lot of condos. For whatever reason, we call them villas in this market. It sounds great. I don't know where it came from, but when you hear villa, that's what we're talking about. Condos and townhomes. We have a lot of attached properties, of course. We have a wide range of architectural styles, Mediterranean, Spanish, Georgian. The list goes on. You see a lot of different things here because people come from all over and they bring their style.
Danielle, it sounds wonderful. There's something for everybody. One of the questions I ask everybody that comes on the show is, what is your favorite buyer story?
So early in my career, I had a woman, and we've done a number of deals together over the years, but she really didn't know the area and she didn't know what she wanted. And after showing her over 40 homes, she was one of my first buyers, 40 homes in a number of neighborhoods, scratching this, missing that, any number of things. One day, and we'd been working together for quite some time at this point, we finally found her home. And what she shared with me is her father had left her money so that she could buy her very own home on Hilton Head because they used to vacation here when she was a child. And she started to cry when I handed her the keys and she thanked me. And throughout our whole process, she had never told me that that was part of her story. But when I learned that, that was when I really connected to this business.
Oh, that's great. Daniela, I want to thank you for being on today's episode of Location Luxe. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine, Alan. Thank you so very much for having me. I'm so glad to have been able to share a little bit of information about our slice of paradise with you.